You have spent years of your life repeating the same prayers, kneeling in the same places, asking with the same weary voice for something to change, and nothing changed. You looked up at the sky so many times you lost count, and the sky seemed silent. But I need you to understand one thing right now, before any other word. The problem was never the sky. The problem was never God. The problem is that you spent your entire life asking outside of what was already yours. You kept knocking on a door that was already open. And today, in this very moment, something inside you knows this is true. Something inside you recognizes that there is a force deeper than anything any religion has taught you. This force does not live in a temple. It lives inside your chest, and its name is the most powerful that has ever existed. Its name is I Am. I know you have arrived here carrying weight. Perhaps it is the weight of the bills that never stop coming. Perhaps it is the weight of a love that crumbled. Perhaps it is that anguish that tightens your chest at dawn, that fear that tomorrow will be the same as yesterday. And I understand because this weight is not yours alone. This weight belongs to millions of people who were taught to believe that they must suffer to be worthy. That pain is a trial. That scarcity is a test. But I tell you with all the authority of someone who has studied this for over 30 years, this is a lie. The truth is that you do not need to prove anything, because God is not out there judging you. God is the state of consciousness that inhabits you. And when you change that state, the whole world changes with it. This is what Neville Goddard called the law of assumption. And there is something happening to you at this moment that goes beyond curiosity. You feel it even if you cannot name it. An unrest that does not pass, a weight that is not of the body but of the soul. This pressure in your chest, this feeling that you are living below what was prepared for your life, is not weakness. It is your spirit recognizing that there is a version of you that you have not yet accessed, but that already exists, already pulses, already waits for you. And this perception is rare. Most people spend their entire lives too distracted to feel this, but you have stopped. You are here, and this reveals something profound about who you are. That is why I have prepared a powerful digital book for you. It is called How to Know If God Will Save You on Final Judgment. And it is not just any book. It was written for those who carry this unrest, for those who feel deep in their chest that there is a spiritual responsibility upon their shoulders, for those who want to protect themselves and their families from what most prefer to ignore. Thousands of people have already accessed this book and written to me saying that something changed within them permanently, that they began to see faith and life with completely new eyes. The link is in the description of this video and also at the top of the comments. Tap now while this content is still accessible, because I do not know how long it will remain available. And if this message is already touching something inside you, write the word awakened in the comments. Now let us move to the most important point. There is a mistake that almost everyone makes when attempting to change their reality, and this mistake has a name. Its name is living in the state of waiting. When you say, I want to be prosperous, what your subconscious hears is not prosperity. It hears the want. It registers the state of one who does not yet have. And the subconscious does not work with words. It works with states, with feelings. If the feeling that accompanies your affirmation is one of lack, of unfulfilled desire, then that is exactly what it will project into your life. Joseph Murphy explained this when he said that the subconscious is like fertile soil. It does not judge the seed. If you plant fear, it manifests fear. If you plant scarcity, it manifests scarcity. But if you plant the feeling of having already received, it manifests the fulfillment. Neville Goddard was even more direct. He said, the feeling is the secret, not visualization, not mechanical repetition, the feeling. Because the feeling is the language of the subconscious. It is the only thing it understands. You may repeat an affirmation 10,000 times a day, but if while you repeat it you feel doubt and disbelief, the subconscious will ignore the words and obey the feeling. This is why so many people repeat mantras, create vision boards, and nothing changes. Because they are doing everything at the level of the conscious mind, and the real power lies in the subconscious. So what is the path? The path is to assume the state of the wish fulfilled, and this is where most people get stuck, because to assume is not to pretend. It is not to deceive yourself. To assume is to internally occupy the place of one who has already received. It is to feel that what you desire is already a consummated reality, not that it will be. It already is. And I need to stop here and speak directly to you who are feeling your heart racing right now. To you who are recognizing in these words something your soul already knew, but that no one has ever put into words for you. This moment is not accidental. There is a force that brought you here, and this force is connected to your mission, to your family, to that which you still need to fulfill in this life. That is why I have prepared a powerful digital book for you, How to Know If God Will Save You on Judgment Day. The link is in the description and at the top of the comments. Do not delay what your spirit is asking for right now. Returning to the teaching. When you inhabit the state of the wish fulfilled with persistence, something extraordinary happens. The external reality begins to reorganize itself around you. This is not mysticism. Science has proven that the human heart generates an electromagnetic field 5,000 times more powerful than that of the brain. This field is shaped by feeling. When you feel genuine gratitude, when you feel the joy of something already accomplished, your heart's field changes. And when this field changes, it interacts with the quantum field around it. It literally reorganizes the possibilities. This is what physics calls the collapse of the wave function. The observer influences the result. You, with your feeling, are the observer. Your reality is the result. Let me give you a concrete example. Imagine a woman named Marta, 52 years old, from the interior of Minas Gerais. Marta tried everything to improve her financial life. She prayed, made vows, worked double shifts, and every time it seemed like something would improve, a new bill would arrive, a new problem would arise. Marta lived in the state of one who fights against scarcity. Every thought was dominated by the fear of not having enough, and this fear was the program that the subconscious executed without ceasing. Until Marta discovered the law of assumption. She understood that she did not need to fight against scarcity. She needed to stop dwelling in the state of scarcity. Every night, before sleep, she closed her eyes and imagined herself opening her bank statement, seeing an abundant balance. She did not visualize numbers. She felt. She felt the relief, the tranquility, the light breath of someone who knows that everything is all right. And she repeated in the silence, I am prosperous. I am supported. I am abundance. In the first few weeks, nothing changed, and this is where most people give up. The sabotaging internal dialogue kicks in and says, see, it does not work. But Marta persisted, because she understood that persistence is the fuel of manifestation. Neville used to say that persistence in the assumed state makes its manifestation in the three-dimensional world inevitable. After 6 weeks, something began to happen. A neighbor offered her a partnership in an artisanal candy business. Marta had never thought about that. She did not plan it. She did not seek it. But the opportunity came. Within 3 months, she was selling to 4 cities. In 6, all debts were paid off. Within a year, she had the house she had dreamed of since she was young. And here is the point. Marta did nothing extraordinary in the exterior. She changed her internal state. And when the state changed, the bridge of incidents was formed. The bridge of incidents is the natural sequence of events that connects your present state to your fulfilled desire. You do not need to know how. The how belongs to the infinite intelligence of the subconscious. Your only job is to maintain the state, to dwell in the feeling, to persist in the assumption. This brings me to the most transformative concept that Neville taught. The 4th dimension, not science fiction, spiritual reality. The 4th dimension is the inner world. It is where everything is created before it appears in the physical. When you close your eyes and feel something as real, you are operating in the 4th dimension. You are planting seeds in the soil of creation, seeds that, nurtured by feeling and persistence, inevitably sprout in the 3-dimensional world. The problem is that most people live exclusively in the 3rd dimension. They react to what they see, to the balance, to the diagnosis, to the loneliness, and by reacting they feed the state that generated that reality. It is a vicious cycle. Scarcity generates fear. Fear generates more scarcity. Disease generates anxiety. Anxiety feeds more disease. And the person remains trapped in this loop, believing they are a victim of circumstances, when in truth, they are the unconscious creator of them. And what you are feeling in this instant, this mixture of recognition and internal trembling, this sensation that every sentence is disarming something that had been locked inside you for years, is no coincidence within this message. It is the direct reflection of what I have just taught you. Reality responds to the state, and your state is changing now as you listen to me. You are feeling on your own skin what it means when consciousness expands. And this expansion carries with it a responsibility that is not only yours, your family feels when you change. Your children inherit the state you carry. Your peace is their peace. Your prison is their prison. And this awareness weighs, I know. But it also liberates, because it shows that the key has always been with you. That is why I prepared the powerful digital book for you. How to Know If God Will Save You on Final Judgment Day. It is the guide for those who realized they are on the threshold between the old and the new and need a concrete map to cross over. People who have applied what is in it told me it was like turning on a light in a room that had been dark their entire lives. The link is in the description and at the top of the comments. What you feel now is real. Honor it. Write in the comments the word, I reborn. Breaking the cycle of automatic reaction requires a radical decision. It requires that you stop giving authority to the outer world and begin giving authority to your inner world. That, when faced with a bill you do not know how to pay, you close your eyes and feel the peace of one who has already paid it. That, when faced with a frightening diagnosis, you inhabit the state of perfect health. That, when faced with loneliness, you feel the loving presence of someone by your side. Not as a denial of reality, but as a deliberate creation of a new reality from the fourth dimension. I know this sounds radical. I know part of you is resisting right now. It is saying, how am I going to ignore the problems? How can I feel peace if I am desperate? And I understand this resistance. It is natural, because the subconscious has been programmed for decades to react, to worry, to defend itself. But I need you to understand that this old programming is not you. It is merely a program, software installed by the repetition of fear. And programs can be rewritten. That is the good news. The best news you will ever hear in your life. You can reprogram your mind. And the tool for this already exists. It has already been tested. It has already transformed millions of lives around the world. This is where the most powerful technique I know comes in. The technique of nocturnal reprogramming. Neville Goddard and Joseph Murphy taught this in slightly different ways, but the principle is the same. The moment between wakefulness and sleep, that drowsy state that scientists call the alpha or theta state, is the direct access window to the subconscious. In this state, the conscious mind, the critical guardian that questions everything, is relaxed, and the subconscious is completely receptive. It is as if the vault door were open, and what you deposit there in that moment becomes the dominant programming of your life. What you do in that moment is simple, but it requires absolute dedication. You create a short mental scene, a scene that implies your desire has already been fulfilled, not a scene of the future, a scene of the present. If you desire health, imagine yourself running outdoors, feeling the wind on your face, feeling the energy vibrating in every cell of your body. If you desire prosperity, see yourself holding your bank statement with a smile of deep gratitude. If you desire love, feel the warmth of a real embrace, the breathing of your loved one near you, the security of knowing you are loved. And repeat this scene. Feel this scene. Step into it as if it were the only reality that exists. Because in the fourth dimension, it is real. It is more real than anything your physical eyes see now. And here is the secret that few understand. You are not creating something new. You are aligning yourself with something that already exists. Neville used to say that all possible realities already exist now, simultaneously. Each version of your life, the prosperous, the healthy, the loving, the free, is already happening on a plane that your physical senses do not reach. What you do when you assume the state is tuned into the frequency of that reality. It is like turning the dial of an old radio. The station is already broadcasting, the music is already playing. You just need to find the right frequency. And the right frequency is the feeling. Now I need to speak about something that many people ignore, and which sabotages everything built at night. Inner dialogue. You may practice the nightly scene every evening with perfection. You may feel the emotion with intensity. But if during the day your inner dialogue is dominated by phrases like "I cannot do it," "It will never work out," "This is too difficult," or "Why do things never work for me?" then you are destroying with one hand what you have built with the other. Inner dialogue is the conversation you have with yourself 24 hours a day. It is the invisible narrator of your life, and most people do not even realize this voice is speaking. They think the thoughts that arise are absolute truths, but they are not. They are repetitions of old programs. They are echoes of a past that no longer exists except in your mind. When you notice that the inner voice is repeating scarcity, fear, or doubt, do not fight against it. Do not try to silence it with force. That only strengthens the resistance. Just observe, acknowledge, and replace. If the voice says, "I will never succeed," you respond internally, "I am capable of all things." If it says, "There is never enough money," you declare, "I am abundance. Everything flows to me with ease." Not as a mechanical affirmation that you repeat without feeling, but as a declaration of identity. A declaration of who you truly are. Because when you say "I am," you are invoking the most sacred name that exists. The "I am" is not just a phrase. It is the divine presence within you recognizing itself. It is God within you awakening. And this is the great truth that the world has not taught you. You are not a sinner begging for crumbs. You are not a worm crawling before a distant throne. You are the individualized expression of the creative power of the universe, the same power that formed the stars, that makes the sun rise every morning without fail, that has kept the planets in perfect orbit for billions of years. That same power is within you. It is alive in you. It is waiting for you to recognize it and direct it with consciousness. And the moment for this recognition is now. Let me tell you another story. A man named Roberto from São Paulo, 61 years old, retired. Roberto lived with chronic back pain that limited him in absolutely everything. He had seen 5 doctors, had dozens of exams, and taken medications that barely had any effect. The pain was constant. It accompanied every step, every movement, every breath. And with the pain came depression. And with depression came isolation. Roberto stopped going out. He stopped seeing his grandchildren. He stopped living. He existed, but he did not live. He was a man trapped inside a body that seemed to have become his jailer. One day his son, who had started studying the teachings of Neville Goddard, sat with him and explained the law of assumption. Roberto, a practical man, a retired engineer, almost laughed. He thought it was internet nonsense, but his son insisted with a conviction that Roberto had never seen before. He asked only that he try for 30 days, without judgment, without expectation of result, just that he try it as an experiment. Roberto began to practice the nightly scene. Every night he imagined himself playing ball with his grandchildren in the park near his home. He felt the warm sun on his face. He felt his legs firm on the ground. He felt the laughter of the boys echoing around him. And at first the pain continued. The body screamed every morning, but Roberto did something that few have the courage to do. He refused to give more authority to the pain than to the state he was building internally. He did not deny the pain. He did not pretend it did not exist. He simply stopped identifying with it. He stopped saying, "I am a person with chronic pain," and started declaring, "I am health, I am vitality, I am free." And even when the pain appeared during the day, he did not react with despair. He observed, he acknowledged, and he returned to his state. Within 45 days, Roberto realized that the pain had diminished by half. He did not believe it at first. He thought it was a coincidence, but he persisted. In 3 months, the pain had almost vanished. In 6 months, Roberto was at the park with his grandchildren, playing ball, with the sun on his face, exactly as he had imagined all those nights. The scene from the 4th dimension had materialized in the 3rd. Coincidence? Placebo effect? Perhaps it is easier to call it that, but science has a precise explanation for what happened. When you change your predominant emotional state, you change the entire chemistry of the body. Stress hormones, cortisol, and adrenaline decrease drastically. Healing and well-being hormones, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, increase. The immune system strengthens, inflammatory processes subside, the body enters a state of deep regeneration. This is not magic, it is biology responding to consciousness. It is the body obeying the state that the mind inhabits. This is exactly what Neville meant when he stated that the state of consciousness is the sole factor that determines experience. Not the circumstances, not the past, not the medical diagnosis, not the bank balance, not the opinions of others. The state. Everything begins and ends in the state you inhabit. Now I want to challenge something you believe about time. Something everyone believes, but which is one of the greatest illusions of human experience. We live as if time were linear. Past, present, future. Yesterday caused today, today will cause tomorrow. But Neville taught that this is an illusion constructed by the conscious mind. In the fourth dimension, everything is now. The past and the future are merely states of consciousness that you can visit at any moment. When you remember something painful from the past and feel that pain again, as if it were happening now, you are in that instant inhabiting the state of the past, and your reality responds to that state. In the same way, when you imagine something future and feel the joy of it as if it had already happened, you are inhabiting the state of the realized future, and reality responds to that state as well. This means something liberating. You do not need to wait for time to pass for things to change. You can change your state now, in this moment, in this breath. And the change begins to manifest immediately, through the bridge of incidents. Perhaps not in the way you expect, perhaps not in the time frame your conscious mind has determined, but manifestation is inevitable when the state is maintained with persistence, as inevitable as the morning following the night. And here enters the concept that I consider the most liberating of all that Neville taught. He said, "Everyone is you pushed out." This means that the people in your life are reflecting your internal states. If you feel you are not loved, you will encounter people who seem to confirm this. If you feel you are being deceived, you will attract situations of betrayal, not because these people are bad, but because they are responding to the role that your internal state has assigned them. They are actors on the stage of your consciousness, playing the roles that you unconsciously have written for them. This may seem harsh, but it is in truth the greatest freedom that exists, because it means that you do not depend on anyone to change your reality. You do not need the other to change first. You do not need the government to change, or your boss to change, or your partner to change, or the economy to change. You change your state and the outer reflection adjusts. It is the law. It is as certain as gravity. Think now of all the times you tried to change your life by changing external circumstances. You changed jobs, yet the same problems appeared in the new one. You moved to a new city, but you carried your anguish in your suitcase. You ended a relationship, yet you encountered the same patterns in the next one. This is not bad luck. It is not destiny. It is the state of consciousness projecting itself onto whatever scenario you are in. The only real, permanent, and true change happens from the inside out. Any change that begins from the outside in is temporary. It is cosmetic, it is makeup on an open wound. And now I must speak about the most practical part of all this. Because theory without practice is sterile philosophy. What do you do tomorrow morning when you wake up? What is the first concrete step? Here is what I recommend, based on decades of study and practice. First, before opening your eyes in the morning while still in that drowsy state between sleep and wakefulness, declare your state. Do not ask. Declare. Say internally, I am health. I am abundance. I am love. I am peace. Feel each word penetrating the deepest layers of your being. Do not rush. Let the feeling settle into your body like warm water filling every space. Second, during the day, monitor your internal dialogue with the attention of a guardian. Each time you notice thoughts of fear, scarcity, or doubt, do not blame yourself. Guilt is yet another negative state. Just redirect. Replace the thought with the desired state. This is like a muscle you are training. At first, it is difficult, even tiring, but with daily practice, it becomes as natural as breathing. Third, at night, before sleeping, practice the scene of the fulfilled desire. Close your eyes. Create a short scene of a few seconds that implies the realization of your desire. Feel it with your entire being. Live it as if it were the most real thing in the universe. Repeat it until you fall asleep inside of it. Neville used to say that falling asleep in the feeling of the fulfilled desire is the most powerful creative act a human being can perform. It is planting the seed directly into the most fertile soil of the subconscious. At the exact moment, it is completely open and receptive. Fourth, practice sacred persistence. External reality may take time to reflect internal change. This is absolutely normal. It is not a sign that it is not working. It is simply the time the seed takes to sprout, break the soil, and appear in the light of day. A farmer does not dig up the seed every day to check if it is growing. He plants, waters, trusts, and waits with the certainty of one who knows the law of the harvest. Do the same with your states of consciousness. Fifth, protect your state as if it were the most precious asset you possess, because it is. This means being deliberately selective with what you consume. News that generates fear and despair, conversations that reinforce limitation and victimhood, environments that drain your vital energy, all of these are direct threats to your state. It is not about living in a bubble of illusion. It is about living with awareness, about choosing deliberately what feeds your mind and what strengthens your heart. And there is a crucial difference that needs to be engraved in your mind. The difference between hope and assumption. Hope is a state of uncertainty disguised as faith. It is wishing for something to happen. It is crossing your fingers. Assumption is certainty. It is inhabiting the state of one who has already received. As long as you hope, the universe reads the clear message that what you desire is not yet yours. When you assume, the universe reads that it is already done. And it begins to reorganize every circumstance, every encounter, every event, to confirm what you already know internally. Neville used to say with a conviction that sent shivers down the spine, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and watch your assumption harden into fact. Harden into fact. Pay close attention to these words. The internal state, when maintained with unwavering persistence, solidifies in the outer world. Not as a possibility, not as a maybe, as a fact, as a concrete, tangible, visible, touchable reality. And this is the promise I make to you today. Not based on blind faith, not based on hope. It is based on a principle that functions with the same precision and regularity as the law of gravity. If you practice what I have taught in this video, if you commit yourself to the state of the wish fulfilled, if you persist even when the entire outer world screams the opposite, your life will change. It is not a question of if, it is a question of when. And the when depends exclusively on your persistence and your fidelity to the state you have chosen to inhabit. I want you to pause for a moment now and feel the magnitude of what you have just received. These are not just words. This is a key that millions of people spend their entire lives without finding. And it has been placed in your hands today, now, in this moment. Everything you have lived, every pain, every sleepless night, every tear, every frustration, all of it was part of a bridge of incidents that brought you exactly here, to this video, to this message, to this awakening. Before we conclude, make a choice now. Not tomorrow, not later, now. Choose the state you wish to inhabit. Perhaps it is prosperity. Perhaps it is health. Perhaps it is love. Perhaps it is peace. Choose one, and declare internally with all the feeling you can muster, I am this now, I do not need to wait, I do not need to earn it, I am. And when you make this declaration with true feeling, something will change within you. It may be subtle, a slight sense of relief, a deeper breath than any you have taken today, a tear that falls for no apparent reason. This is the subconscious receiving the new instruction. This is the seed being planted in the most fertile soil that exists. This is the beginning of a new reality forming in the fourth dimension, ready to manifest in your three-dimensional life. And this message you have received today did not come by chance. Nothing in this life comes by chance. Every event, every encounter, every word heard at the right moment is part of a bridge of incidents leading you toward your complete awakening. This video is one of those bridges, And the next step is in your hands. That is why I have prepared a powerful digital book for you. It is titled, How to Know If God Will Save You at the Final Judgment. Within it, you will find the depth that this video has only begun to reveal. Practical reprogramming tools, guided exercises to transform your state of consciousness, and truths that will anchor this awakening in your life in a permanent and irreversible way. People who have read and applied what is inside have written to me saying that they were never the same again, that the reality around them began to change in ways they could not explain. The link is in the description of this video and at the top of the comments. I ask you from the heart, do not let this moment dissipate. Act now, tap the link now. Because the call you are feeling in this moment has a time limit, not because anyone set a deadline, but because spiritual enthusiasm, when not transformed into concrete action, dissipates like smoke in the wind. And I do not want that to happen to you. I do not want you to wake up tomorrow and think, I should have acted when I felt that. If this video has touched your soul, if it has ignited something within you that had been dimmed for a long time, do 3 things now. First, tap the like button, not as a mechanical gesture, but as a decree of acceptance, a decree that you accept this truth as your own and assume the state of a transformed life. Second, subscribe to this channel and turn on the bell, because awakening does not happen in a single video. It is a continuous process, and I am here to walk with you every step of this journey. Third, write in the comments the phrase I am awake. Write with intention, with feeling, because when you write a declaration and feel it deep in your chest, it becomes real. It becomes a living decree, and decrees move the universe. I will be here in the next video waiting for you, because this journey is only beginning, and the best, the most magnificent, the most transformative is yet to come. You have been chosen to experience something great. Do not let this blessing pass you by. I am the awakening of my consciousness, and you are too.